Welcome, everyone, to Elemental Evolution here on October 17th, 2023. My name is Sherri Wisdom, and with me is Stephen Roberts, and we're here to talk about some of the things that are causing a lot of controversy in America these days. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, it's all hearsay.
Yeah, like it's all conspiracy.
It's all hearsay.
You know, I guess let's kind of start there because that's something to me, when things don't add up, when one and one doesn't equal two, there's a question. It's not a conspiracy. It's called lying. Like
Yes,
there's different, things that have been going on in this country that are just kind of overlooked because people just take whatever story the media is shoving out, regardless of whether it makes sense or not. And that's, I guess, where I want to be considered something different than a conspiracy theorist because it's not about conspiracy to me. It's about logical thinking. And anyway, I'd like it to kind of go more into that direction as opposed to, being poo pooed as something that is not real.
well, they have studied us psychologically for a long, long time, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. They've studied us. They know that normal people don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want to be called
Right.
um, names, made fun of.
They don't want to be out, they don't want to be outed from the norm.
Yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
Right. I think that's a huge part of it. And here's my deal is I just think that's so funny because when you take a look at what's considered norm these days, who wants to sign up for that?
Well,
I'm not signing
who
up
wants
for
to,
that.
who
Mm-mm.
who gets to define normal?
Well, I think that it's, this is the whole thing. It's media, right? Because society is completely based on the media that they see and hear and the norms that are projected to them by what the media is saying is the mainstream public opinion, right? In quotes again and again and again, because they're just making it up as they go and then
It,
dishing it
that's
out so that
exactly
people
right.
then become,
That's
right?
all. That's all made up, anyways. These polls that they take, you know, the people
Well,
supposedly want this and they want that, and that's all stuff
they
they
don't want,
make up.
well, of course, because if they didn't, though, this is the whole thing is people, this is what's crazy to me is that, we, once you start seeing things in a different light, you start seeing more and more and more and more, and you're just like, whoa, I can't believe this. But if you never come to that place of seeing that light,
Not so much seeing
then,
with your eyes, you see with your mind.
well, it's yes, being
It's
able
already
to
been proven.
understand.
People that
Yes.
people that don't have sight have insight. They can
Well, and
see
I,
things
yeah, you're right.
in
But
their
this
mind.
is more, and yeah, I agree with that. But I think this is more blatant than that. This is no longer just like, oh, I have a feeling. Okay? No. This is about, well, the first, here's what I want to start off with, and I wanted you to kind of pipe in here with what you had read something or seen something about um it being the whole fires in Maui and this and that, it being um lasers or
Directed
military
energy.
or anyway. So can you kind of talk a little bit about that because there was so many different stories as far as um the blue roofs and this and that and the property and all these different things. What is your opinion or what have you researched and found on this?
Well, lasers can be programmed with different frequencies. They can bypass. I think most of us have seen the video where some guy had a laser and he shined it over different colors: red, blue, black, brown, and white, and it burnt the
Yeah.
other colors that it didn't burn the blue. Well, a laser can be programmed not to burn the blue or not to burn the red, or whatever the case may be.
Whatever color
Lasers,
they choose, right?
whatever color they choose. Yes, that's not out of the realm of possibility at all. Any
I mean, do you feel like that's, I mean, when people hear this kind of stuff, if they have not been exposed to what's been going on, it seems really extreme. It seems like who
well,
the hell, or heck, sorry, who is actually going to be doing that? Who's going to, who has the time or who wants to burn down and get rid of Maui basically? So who would that be? I mean, what is your opinion on that?
well, there's different stories out there. One story is that they have destroyed all of this land to make a 15-minute city. Well, it's going to take over a decade to make the kind of 15-minute city that they want. They have that all. They have that area walled off, and they have it cordoned off. You can't fly drones in there to see what's going on.
You
They are
mean
trying. Go ahead.
explain what you mean when you say it's blockaded or it's blocked
It's
off. What do you
blockaded
mean?
off. Yeah, they got 12-foot walls up all around that area. They walled that off immediately. They they're not letting people in or out. Well, I mean, there's just contractors in, but normal citizens aren't allowed to go in at all. You can't fly any drones around the area because they have sensors, and they'll block a drone from coming in. They can they can take over somebody's drone. Somebody buys a
Why
free
would they be doing that?
to keep eyes out, keep prying eyes out.
Because they said, because I haven't heard this part. I haven't heard that it's still extended. I did hear something about that during the fires that they had barricaded and blocked in people from getting to their homes or their children and different things. I hadn't heard that it was, that they keep doing it or that it's something that is extended um
Well,
over, like now.
as far as I can tell, everybody that is out is staying out and not being let in. That's why it's walled up, 10 to 12 foot walls. You can't really climb up and see what's going on. I mean, you
Well, and
could.
there's an article that NBC put out that talked about um the residents of Maui saying that the utility trucks and different things were blocking the roads as they tried to flee, that they could not get out, they couldn't get through, and that these were intentionally placed so that there were definitely
That's
blockades, to
yeah. People
keep
had to
people
jump in the
from
water.
leaving, or at least leaving in large numbers. Um,
People had to people had to
well, and
jump
they
in
show
the
like, well, and I think it's interesting because they're showing like these big electrical clue, like they have pictures of it. So these people that are saying, "Oh, well, that didn't happen," well, there's pictures. So again, this is where I start to get into the whole thing again with conspiracy and critical thinking, because if there's pictures of what has been going on and there's lines of traffic and then they've got one side completely shut down because of this whole thing, then and it's showing that it's during these dates and people are talking about it who live there. hmm what do you think about, or how do you feel about, they originally had said that there were over 1,000 children missing and all this stuff. There was like, that was kind of a conspiracy, like that was a big jump for people saying that again, they're attacking the children because in so many different situations, Haiti, now probably Gaza, all anytime that there's a world calamity, calamity is that, did I just make up?
yeah
I don't know. Anyway, um, there
catastrophe.
is catastrophe, thank you. There are, it seems all of a sudden that's when a lot of children end up missing, and there's all kinds of different things blamed. Now originally when I started researching this, it said that there were over 1,000 children missing, this and that, that they were sent from the school and blah 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 and all these things. Well, then they came out with and said, well, they're not
The,
missing,
the
they
schools
just
weren't
didn't
even open.
register for school.
Schools weren't even
So,
open at the time.
well,
They were
and so
still
let's
closed out
go
for
back
summer.
and look at that. 'Cause I want to see what
It was August 8th, wasn't it?
yeah, but there was something about yeah. They were in okay, so public school for homeschool K through 12, alternative school. Um, oh no, wait, no, 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 no.
I find it quite interesting that the Lahaina
Well, okay, here we
police
go.
chief,
Oh, say that again. What?
the Lahaina police chief, he was also the lieutenant commander at the Las Vegas shooting 5 years ago. I think it was
Oh,
2019.
interesting. And the
It is
tangled
very
web we
interesting.
weave, right? Yeah,
Well,
that is very interesting.
a lot of us have already seen through that scam. That was nothing but a scam there. I
Well,
don't believe
a lot of
anybody
us
got
have.
killed.
A lot of people have not, which is why it continues, and that's why so many, false flags that keep coming up. So many people are truly injured, and there are things that happen, but it's planned and it's orchestrated. And if people can kind of see that it's not that people aren't being affected by it, it's that we need to stop, you know, falling for or allowing these types of Hollywood adventures through the government to take over our narrative. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Children sent home from school on day of Maui fires. Okay, so here, let's see what this says. This comes out of dun, dun, dun. Let's see. I can't. Of course, it's like going to run me around because it doesn't want me to
I
really know about
actually,
this.
I actually believe that there's something else. I mean, a lot more sinister than just a 15-minute city going on over here. I think they destroyed a lot of that land for nefarious reasons, not just to build some 15-minute city, but other reasons, other hidden reasons that haven't come out yet.
Like, what do you mean? Like, so give me some
Underground,
examples because I agree with that, but I think what I'm thinking,
underground,
I go way out there because it's,
something underground.
yeah, exactly right. That's exactly where I was going to, is something underground and not just the under, because here's the thing about Hawaii. They had, they've already been, they were taken over at one point. They came in, they stole the land, they stole all the money. They
Well,
basically, do
they
what?
haven't
Say that again.
really. They had a treaty with the indigenous people, and they broke the treaty. There never was any. Allegedly, Hawaii isn't even a state; it's just a occupied territory that we have.
Well, I don't understand. I mean, this is the whole thing is I don't understand how it is that, the United States is still taxing, right? They're still collecting tax revenue from this supposed uh
Kingdom, Hawaiian kingdom,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and so then they come in and now, you've got certain lands which seem to me to be extremely selective as to how these fires were.
Well, Lahaina at one time was the kingdom's capital, the Hawaiian
Oh,
kingdom's capital. Lahaina was
okay.
the capital. I
So
think
what do you think's buried underneath there?
uh, they think a lot of ancient stuff.
Do you think it's ancient, or do you think that those are part of the trafficking tunnels?
Well, that could be too.
Right? I mean, you know, I feel like I'm constantly, anytime that there's children missing, anytime that, again, that there's some type of catastrophe, I feel like that's when um, things get taken advantage of.
Hmm.
And that's when a lot of people go missing, children, um, homeless, the people that aren't going to be as noticed all of a sudden can easily disappear because nobody's really paying attention. They're too busy and focused on surviving, right? Which seems to be such
Yep.
a,
Yep.
I mean, that just seems to be where we all need to go so much of the time. So
One of the
I think,
conspiracies
say it
back
again.
in back in 2003 when George Bush Jr. invaded Iraq, one of the conspiracies there was they were looking for portholes, they were looking for stargates, and they were also looking for particular family bloodlines. And they were trying to eliminate them bloodlines too. And I also feel that this could be part of the thing over there in Hawaii too. They're looking for particular bloodlines that are the ruling class of the Hawaiian people, and they want
Mm.
to eliminate them, just like they did in Iraq, and they wanted to do in Syria and Libya and all them other countries over there in the Middle East.
Well, and I think that that's another thing. It's easy to believe, or for Americans to believe, it's all about oil or business or,
Or gold,
this or
yeah,
that goal. Yeah, when really, again, I believe that you're right. I think that, that's going to be something they've announced, that aliens are real and that there
yep.
is all these other things, but nobody's paying any attention to that
Mm-hmm.
because inflation and this and that. I mean, it's so we are in the highest amount of inflation, yet corporations are in their highest profit margins ever recorded in any type of history.
You
So,
look you look at the numbers all across the board. We're in a deeper depression now than we were back in the 1930s.
well, and it's, yeah, because, but the thing is they don't want to announce anything like that because they want to keep collecting, keep collecting. I mean, Americans are paying 75 cents on the dollar pretty much in taxes. I mean, every time you turn around, you're paying another tax on the same dollar, same dollar, same dollar. And they just take as much as they want, and there's no boundaries as far as, a single mom with two kids. If you make, over $70,000 a year, well, they are going to tax you $1,000 a month. Yet that's probably more than Elon Musk pays, or some of these high
Well,
corporate affiliates
because they know
that,
they don't have to pay taxes. They know none of
which
us
is,
have to pay taxes.
I think that they do pay taxes, but I think the comparison of the ratios is such a large. So, like, for somebody who's making millions of dollars to pay $10,000 in taxes, that's a drop in the bucket. It doesn't affect them. It doesn't do anything. But then for it to turn around and the same people, your average citizen, to pay 12,000 to 13 to 14,000, it puts them almost into a poverty level because inflation is so incredibly high that they can't afford their basic living essentials. And that's not just food. You're talking about, your housing, your electric, your this, your that, which again, that same dollar that you earned and already paid taxes on, every single time you pay a bill, every single time you purchase, every single time you move that dollar, you're paying on it again and again and again. So, like, I mean, that's just ridiculous. And it's like it's gotten so out of hand and there's no boundaries. Our federal government is completely out of control. And and they have our focus on Biden and Trump and Democrat, Republican. They are all dirty. They all need to be eliminated and taken off the board, and like a complete wipeout and redo. Like, Congress needs to have, term limits, and everything that has gone down from the white slavery
And they
and
don't
the
need their
suppression. Go ahead.
they get their full pension after a single term
Well, the whole
for
thing, I don't
life.
even care about that. Like, good, get it. Get it, get it, get it. I don't care about that. I care that we've got people in their 80s making laws and trying to dictate to society what things are supposed to be going on when they can no way have a clue about anything that has in advanced over the last 20 years. It's just, it's pathetic. And I just feel like, what is it that the American people are so infatuated that they will continue, even though nobody wants Biden, nobody wants Trump, nobody wants these people in office, but everybody will say, well, we can't vote independent because then it takes away from the Democrat or the Republican Party, and then we'll lose. How freaking stupid do you have to be?
Red
That's
team,
what
blue
they
team.
put out there. But what they really don't tell people, and this is something that you'll learn if you take a civics class in college, is that there is not a place for independence. So if you do not vote Democrat or Republican, it's not that your vote is lost to the parties, it's that it is literally lost because there is not a place for it to be counted.
Your vote
Right? So
doesn't
there's
count
only
anyways.
after you get to a certain level, there is only Republican and Democrat, and any independents that they pretend to let in or pretend to be allowing the votes to accumulate is a lie. And that's why it's a wasted vote. It's not because they don't exist or that they shouldn't be able to take over. It's that they have the party set up that they literally go to waste.
Your
It's
vote doesn't
disgusting.
count anyways. Your
Well,
vote
and
doesn't
you're
count
right. The whole
anyways.
voting system is rigged, and
Do you
and
really?
Trump is trying
Well,
to show that over and over. But again, the American people then want to bring him up on charges for showing and trying to take over the things that are ruining America, and people are real pissed about it. They want to they want
if
to
pe-
fight him on it.
if the people want to think their vote counts, why don't they ask Bernie Sanders what happened in 2016? Ask the Bernie Sanders voters if their vote counts.
Did
You
who
know what
and
happened
what?
in
You
2016?
know, I don't know what just happened.
Bernie Sanders got the majority of the
Yes,
votes, and the
but he
electoral
wasn't going to
college
get it.
took it away from him and gave it to Hillary.
Well, and he's not going to get in, and it's only going to be the people that, in my opinion,
Bernie can be
are
Bernie can be
pretending.
controlled.
Well, yeah, they're pretending to be for the people, no matter who they are. And the truth is that they're for the deep state, and it doesn't matter because the whole thing is everything is run by money, and this country is controlled by money. And the only way that that's going to be rectified is if
You
another civil war or where another country comes in and eliminates the deep state and resets democracy.
not a civil war, but a revolutionary war. You,
Yeah,
you know of Dwight Eisenhower's final speech in 1961, right? Where he talks about the military-industrial complex.
yes,
You
yeah.
know,
We've
you know
actually
what he
talked about that before.
you know what he also talks about that in that speech that never gets heard or spoke of. He talks about the pharmaceutical industrial complex, and he also talks about
And
the educational industrial complex.
all three things which control and basically manipulate the people. So if you have control of the media, you have control of the education, you have control of the food, I mean, basically, if people take a look at BlackRock, at some of these large corporations that are pretending again to be corporations when in fact
Vanguard.
they
Yeah.
are complete monopolies and controlling stock, everything, trading, they're controlling America, and yet we're just all sitting back like, what is that, Walmart? Right? I mean, it's like it's just amazing to me. And the more you talk about it, again, I've been told by several different people recently, well, I'm just not I can't take all the conspiracy stuff. There's just too much. And it's just too much for my brain. It can't all be a conspiracy and this and that.
It
Really?
absolutely can.
Yeah, where have you been? Like,
There's a
what are
term out
you
there.
not paying attention to? I mean, it's not, it's like, I'm so sick of the term conspiracy because that was, made up again by
Yeah,
the people
conspiracy
who don't
theory.
want you critically thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's really just taking a look. If it doesn't add up, it doesn't add up.
I probably told you. I'm sure I have. There's a term called full spectrum dominance. It's a
Yes.
military term.
Yes.
The military attacks you at 360 degrees as a
Right.
circular spectrum. They attack you on every single degree. That's what we're being attacked on. Is all 360 degrees of the secular spectrum.
Well, and it's,
Everything,
here's the other
everything
thing
isn't.
is we can say that we're being attacked and all these other things, but how many people are signing up for it?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well,
it's hard for me
there's
to
another
have,
old. There's an old saying: people love their servitude.
right? I mean, seriously, but the problem is now is that it's gotten to a point of where if people don't wake up and they don't start taking a look, this 30,000 people that go missing every month in the United States and all over the world, modern day slavery, it's not just about, them being used as sex slaves or being, used as organ donors or in a lot of these major factory corporations. I mean, you're talking about a huge billion-dollar industry that supposedly was ended in the time of Lincoln.
Yeah, supposedly.
But it's not, and that's what so as Americans, as just general, as human beings, we need to decide, like, what is it that we're doing? Why is it that things like Gaza are happening? Why is it that that kind of stuff can even go on, and people just sit around and go, oh my, but nothing is done about it while we're forking over millions and millions of dollars into this military complex that is not protecting the people of anywhere, of any country.
You know that $6 billion that went missing, that was supposed to go to Ukraine.
Yes,
It
yes.
actually went to Iran and also went to Hamas. So
Well, there's a shocker.
in effect, we bombed Israel last week.
It's horrifying. That is horrifying. And the thing is that nobody will take credit for that. And again, that'll be considered a conspiracy theory
Right?
because there's not going to be, they're not going to announce that on CNN.
No.
So, obviously you don't know what you're talking about. It's just ridiculous. And the other part of that too is, I'm not saying that the people of Ukraine deserve to be bombed or deserve to be, displaced or have half the things that are going on. But the issue with Ukraine is that they have a very large amount of human trafficking coming through that country that is a huge amount of income and support throughout that needs to be eliminated. And I'm not sure how
You
you
know where
do
that
that
trafficking goes
without.
to, don't you?
Say that again.
That trafficking, those children and all that people, they go to Sweden, they go to Norway, they go to the Netherlands, they go to the Nordic, they go to the Nordic countries.
I
That's
mean,
where they're being
that's
trafficked to.
well, and it's not just that because I'm telling you right now that when I did that huge report and kept digging, 65% of all human trafficking is done through the United States. So as they come from all over the world and they traffic them through the United States, as far as especially, for sex trafficking and, different things that are of just criminal nature, it's the United States that has the most money invested. Just horrible.
Ohio and New York used to be, well, I mean, they probably still are too, as top states for the trafficking.
Disgusting. Well, yeah, because they're right there by the ports, right?
Yep.
So they can bring them in from all
Close to
over the
Canada.
place and nobody's paying attention.
Close to
And
Canada.
it's like, it's just ridiculous. And, an epidemic basically is what they've been talking about, like through Newsweek and different things, that there was a human trafficking epidemic, is what they were saying through the Ukraine. And this is all prior to the war. And then as soon as a war hits, nobody's talking about any of that at all. But Putin is, he's
Yep.
saying, hey, we've got to take this down. We've given them the opportunity to stop doing these things. They're not willing to do this, blah, 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 blah.
Well, the
And then the media spins it into it's about some type of mineral or it's
the
about
fact
some
that
type.
the fact that Ukraine also had 27 biolabs, uh, American biolabs there.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And then they turn it around too. This is another thing, is that they're saying that all these Ukrainian refugees are now being trafficked. Well, that should show people, yeah, they are, because that was originally happening where they were at. And so now that they have no place to go, it's real easy to just pick them up and put them in. It's disgusting. It's like I don't understand, why is it that we're paying these huge amounts of taxes towards, the military complex and all these different things again that are not taking care of even the American people. Like, I don't understand that at all. Um Let me look
Well,
here because I want to say,
did you hear what Pence said a few weeks back? Mike
no,
Pence.
what, no,
He's running
what.
for he's running for president, and he was talking about Ukraine isn't getting enough military support and this, that, and the other thing. And Tucker Carlson mentioned to him that he's more worried about Ukraine getting military aid and military weapons, and people here in America are suffering badly. And he said, that's not my concern. He basically said, that's not my concern.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's interesting because it is the concern of a lot of American people. And so it should be the concern of the people who are representing us, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
another thing, too. It's like, so many of these representatives throughout Congress, Senate, they have so many opinions, and they're standing so strong in so many opinions that are not representing the people that they are supposed to be
Yep.
speaking for. So it's really unfortunate how all of this is gone. Um,
Well, basically, what you and I know is they don't have to do anything for us because they work for a corporation. They work for the United
well,
States.
yeah, and we keep paying for it though. That's the thing that I guess that gets me more and more.
Well,
Is like, no matter how much you bring it up to the attention of the people and how much we talk about, what are the directions. I mean, really, what each citizen of the United States should be doing is turning around and filing a lawsuit against the federal government for ripping us off.
yeah,
Like, I mean, seriously, like it, and I'm not talking, because you're talking about, a revolutionary um type of procedure. I mean, the only way to take back the complex, right, is to stop the funding.
right,
So the Federal Reserve has to go, and the banking systems have to go, because they're not a banking system, it's a debt system. So all of that has to be completely wiped out. And how many people are going to go for that? How many people are going to stand up and actually stand strong when the military comes in as the mafia, right? They're the enforcers of the mafia. And so the military comes in and nobody can defeat them, because we, the American people, have funded them for so long that they have now gotten to the point of where, with AI and everything else, they're undefeatable. It's ridiculous. So it has to be wiped
no,
clean.
it's yeah, it has to be wiped clean,
It has to be wiped
basically.
clean, and it's got to be
Power
another
has to be
power
taken
that is
back at the local
something
level.
that is as powerful as the military complex, and something that's as powerful as the elite that are actually running the country. That's who has to come in and do
The
it.
media.
And, well, and the media is all owned by those same people, right? So it has to be something outside of the United States that's going to come in and rectify things. And I don't, I'd like to say, oh, it's going to be aliens, but I have a feeling it's going to be Russia.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, and did you see
Could
that
be.
thing where they're trying to push forward exactly what I said? Is that, Trump's going to be going for head Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House.
He's
Yeah.
not, all this messing around with president and this and that. That's all great, and that's a great front. But the truth is, and we all know, anybody who's actually studied civics knows where your real power is in the Speaker of the House. They're the ones
Yeah.
who are supposedly, running everything. They're the ones who can
Well, they do.
determine through Congress.
They are the ones that bring up the agenda, whatever that agenda happens to be.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so it's like, and they get to write the narrative.
Yep.
Right? I mean, the Speaker of the House gets to write the narrative, and that is truly, it's the most powerful puppet position that you can have.
Can
Right?
you imagine? Can you imagine if he is Speaker of the House? They impeach Biden and they impeach Harris, and he's
Oh, it's
president
not just
again.
impeachment. He's going for criminal charges because
Yeah.
of, I mean, there's a huge list. And then he's also talking about, if he gets elected for the 2024, because this was a huge thing, all the people that were involved in the insertion of January 6th will be um,
But
uh,
do you know what? Do you know what the FBI took at his house down in Mar-a-Lago? All the files that they took. Do you know what they were?
what? No.
They were his investigation of the FBI that was looking into him from
Well,
Biden
imagine that. So of
and
course they're going to
Obama.
come in and take all these things. All of that should be. See,
They were
that's
all
the thing.
declassified anyways.
If he became Speaker of the House, he would have the power through. Like he would have the president. As much as everybody talks about him,
He
the
could regulate the
presidency and
FBI.
this and
He
that,
could regulate the CIA.
everything.
Yeah,
He could actually, if he's Speaker of the House, he could come in and do a complete clean out
yeah.
of all of those agencies that have been, they're dirty. And
Corrupt.
we know that they're dirty. They're corrupt. They're taking money. They're stealing money from the American people, and then they're taking bribes. They're doing things that are unethical and illegal, and there's no accountability.
Yep.
So Trump coming in and making there being some type of accountability. Now, is is he a superhero? I think not. Is he part of the elite? Absolutely. He wouldn't be in the position that he is if he wasn't. So I don't think that Trump is on our side necessarily, but he has something to gain from them being taken down as well, whatever that is.
Yeah. You have to follow
There
the
has to be
money.
something.
Will something worse be brought in if this is all taken down? That's a chance
Well,
we have to take.
supposedly not. I mean, supposedly people are waking up more and more and more. And, that's all part of more light. That's part of like when the Mayan calendar ended and we have this new era coming in. Part of that, and even in the
That was
circles
11
that
years
we run
ago.
in, well, yeah, well,
Mine
people are
calendar
real
ended.
stupid. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's taking way longer
You
than
know,
what it
I
should because,
I had a friend that says he has underground uh, contacts and stuff like that, and supposedly December 31st, 2012, the world did end, but then it was reset immediately, and it was never known.
I believe that on some level. I don't think that it was necessarily destroyed and then came back. I think that it is literally a dimensional, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not because the terminology that people are using is so warped now that I feel like whatever I say it's going to be interpreted different than what I'm meaning. It's like it's basically that we had a vibrational frequency that hits the planet, the Schumann resonance, the um the amount of knowledge that people could absorb or obtain, right? Like their brain function, the amount of evolution basically within the human race was supposedly in 2012 more light, more light, more light. When there's more light, there's more expansion, there's more evolution, there's more knowledge, right? So people can, when there's more light on the planet, there's it expands people's minds literally. It
Yeah,
allows them to be able to see and understand things that they could not before. So it ended a time, a reign of imprisonment, enslavement on the planet, where now the human race will be able to, I feel, and it's what I believe, is that we will be able to become the creators that we were intended before we were bypassed or taken over or whatever happened. That time, that reign has ended, and now the human race will be able to expand and understand that we are constantly creating through frequency the reality that we experience.
I don't
I
know if
think
I
that's what's
told
coming.
you. I don't know if I
Go
told
ahead.
you, but there was one of the hosts on the Irish network that we were on. He left in 2014 or something like that. He left the network and he ended up going. He's studying to be a shaman. I don't really know what if it was a religious thing or what the deal was, but he called me on Skype in 2015 and he said, "You need to get out of America, Stephen. There's a dark force coming." and he wouldn't. I don't think he could actually explain it, but he didn't explain it to me. But I said the fight's right here. I can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. He said, come to Ireland. We'll help you. We'll protect you here. And then he never explained that
They
either.
can't even protect themselves.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing about Ireland. I told you I did that case out there, and that's been around 2012, 2013, maybe it was 2014. It was like dealing with it was like dealing with the mafia in the 1930s.
Yeah.
So they're not they're going through the same thing because it's all based in that same money system. And so as long as it's not a money system, it's a debt system. And as long as
It's an enslavement system.
any country that's involved in that is under the same reign, and it's just a matter of each country having its own dictatorship that is claiming to be government. I mean, that's really what it is, and that's what it's come down to. And there's because otherwise the governments wouldn't have so much control or power over the people. It would be the other way around, which is how it was intended, with democracy.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we've been on now for a little bit over 40 minutes. Let's wrap it up. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I had something there for a minute or two, but then I lost I lost it now. But I was going to say BRICS. You know about BRICS, right?
No. What?
Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. They've all gone to gold-backed systems. Do you know what Deagle is? Deagle.com?
I have heard of that. Yeah.
They predict what's going to happen for the next year or the next decade or whatever the case is. They've already said by 2025, America's going to lose 68% of its population. The UK is going to lose 72% of their population. But oddly enough, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, they're all going to gain in population, or or lose very, very slight amounts, like less than 0.5%.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to see this all over the place because, first of all, and this is something that I want a lot of people to take into consideration. We're going to see a lot of death coming up in the next 10 years because of the boomers.
Yep.
I mean, that's not conspiracy. That's not bullshit.
Because of the jab.
Well, it's not just, I mean, people would be going anyway. They may be going a little sooner and it may be for something different. But let's take a look at how many people on the planet right now are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. Yeah. A huge number, probably larger than any other time on the planet.
Probably at least 35% of the population, yeah.
Right? And they're eventually they're going to leave in droves because that's just, because of the timing. It's not because, again, not conspiracy, not energy, not this, not that.
The fertility rates are dropping all around the world.
Well, that shouldn't be surprising because, the foods that you eat, we are what we eat. And if you're eating poison and you're eating all these different things, your systems aren't going to work properly. So, if you're having problems getting pregnant, if you're having problems with your menstrual cycles and all these different things, if you'll actually look up different diets and different ways to maintain your hormones and metabolism through what you're eating, it'll change everything for you. So, I think, again, we got to be smarter than those that are trying to kill us.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun, Sherri.
It has been fun. It's always fun. Let's try and do this. I'm going to start trying to get these shows back going. I want to start talking about things that are important to people. And I want to start giving an opportunity to live chat and do different things and put in opinions. I'm not sure how to set all that up yet. But once I get it rolling, I'll start announcing it and we can and start going forward. So thank you for joining me, Stephen.
You don't know any young people that are geeks or anything that can help you out? Or?
Well, I do, but it's like they're so them talking to me is like, and then you're random in a minute. So we'll get it figured out. I will get it figured out, and we'll be able to do some live chats and get us out on YouTube and different things and start rolling again. I'm pretty excited about it. So thank you, Stephen. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.